Welcome back, everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's add in another variable here. Okay, and this variable here is what we're going to do is we're going to make this a gradient. This is actually a really cool thing you can do with HTML5 here is you can actually do some gradients. Now, let's go ahead and let's call this variable a gradient, just like this. And what will this gradient will be is we have to make this equal to context, because again we need to reference this context, and this get context adds a whole bunch of functionality to this canvas here. So we need to go ahead and then we need to go to context dot, and then we're going to go to create radial, and you need to spell this right, gradient. Okay. And then this one takes in 5 parameters here, okay? And I'm actually just going to close the output for just a second here. And as you can see, there's one warning. It says missing semicolon. It creates a gradient here. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put in this here, and I might as well put in this semicolon here. So what this is that this radial gradient, what it does is it will create one color in the middle, and in a circle it will fade out to the other color. It's actually quite simple. Now the 5 parameters are the x and the y to start off with. So let's just go ahead and put 10 and 10. The next one is the radial. So what we'll end up doing here is what we'll do is we'll put in, let's see, what number should we do? Let's just do 3 for now, okay? So we'll do 3, and then the next 2 here, we're going to need to do the second x and y, which will go, let's say, 50 and 50, and then the second radius, which will, let's say, do, if it's 3, we'll make it 70 or something like that, or 70 like that, okay? So we have a gradient, and you can see this works here, but nothing changes, and there's a good reason for that. Even though we set up the variable, we haven't actually done anything with the variable, and since we haven't done anything with the variable, we have to go and put it somewhere. And where, of course, are we going to put this here? So we're going to get rid of the quotes here, and we're just going to type in a gradient, okay? And you just have to make sure everything is spelled correctly, and for the most part here this should work, except for we haven't really set the gradient colors, right? And what we have to do is we have to go to a gradient, okay, and then we're going to go to dot add color stop, and this one takes in 2 parameters, and what we'll do is we'll do 0, and then we'll do 2 quotes, and then we'll call this orange, okay? And you can see that as soon as you put that up there, it starts to work. And why do we add 0? It's because this is the first gradient color that we're going to do here. Now the second thing we're going to do is we're going to go to a gradient, okay, dot add color stop, simple enough, and we need to do 1, because that is the next item in the list. And then let's do blue just for fun, okay? And there you can see we now have a gradient there. Now that one's a little bit interesting, and if you want to, you can go ahead and you can play around with any of these here. So you can see that if I add in, I'll just close this for a second here. So remember, it's the first x and the second x, and then the radius, and then the second. Then we have the second x and the second y, and then the radius there. So you can go ahead and play around with that as you want, and you can actually create some pretty cool gradients there. And of course, you can change this to whatever you want. So you can change it to white if you want, which kind of looks cool. You can change it to pretty much whatever you want. Let's do yellow. There we go. Looks kind of cool. Actually, I like blue the best, so let's just go ahead and change it back to blue. Okay, and so as you can see here, that works. Now let me just go quickly explain something here. Okay, so remember before we had this red here, and the reason why this is in quotes is because you're actually passing in some kind of, you're not passing in a variable, you're passing in a property. And that property needs to be within those quotes here, but if you type in a gradient, just like this, you're then passing the variable with all of these commands attached to it. So we have the gradient here, right? And then we tell it to put the color 1 and then color 2 here. All right, and then we tell the context to fill this square with the gradient. And that's essentially what's been happening. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.